Greetings and welcome to the Transform Podcast. This is episode 50. It is Wednesday, April 13th, 2022, and I'm your host, Christopher Anastasio. So welcome back, guys, to this very, very special episode of the podcast. We're halfway to 100 episodes, so super excited to have you on board here for episode 50. I'm excited to be part of it, just kind of trying to put out as much value as possible for you guys. At the pace we're going, we've got to do another 50 weeks to get us to episode 100, so we're talking about somewhere in March 2023 that we'll hit that milestone. But, sincerely, guys, for everybody who's been supporting this podcast, everybody who has, either liked it or shared it or subscribed to it, or just listen to one episode. I really appreciate that from you guys. This is something that, from a Transform perspective, from a personal perspective, we want to do it to add value and help you guys in your business endeavors and with curating and growing your businesses. And so if we've even brought you a shred of positive value, we are grateful for that. And the exposure that you may have given us along the way is so very much appreciated. So just kind of wanted to get that out of the way, guys. I'm not trying to get too sappy about it, but definitely excited to be part of this at this juncture, the 50 episode mark. Now, as I usually do, just want to kind of look back quickly for you guys, just getting in a little bit of a plug for last week's episodes, 48, 49. Of course, 48, we talked a little bit about a very high-level introduction to paid traffic. That's something we're going to return to in the future. If you're not familiar with it at all, you can listen to episode 48 and kind of get a sense of some of the elements that go into paid traffic, why you do it, how you do it, things like that. But it's not very tactical. And if you're looking for how you construct a Facebook ad, you're not going to get that from that episode, but it definitely gives you the introduction kind of material. And then episode 49, at a tactical level, talked about using Twitter a little bit more effectively by incorporating the feature of putting threads together on Twitter, where you're threading multiple tweets into sort of one package and then tweeting them all out at the same time. So that's last week. If you guys get a chance, make sure you check out episode 48 and 49 for those episodes. But today, really didn't want to talk about anything particularly tactical or even social media wise. Really kind of wanted to take it up a couple levels into more of a macro space and talk to you guys as business owners, as risk takers, as entrepreneurs who have put yourself, your family, your finances, your reputation, whatever the case may be, put those things on the line for your passion, for your desire to create an enterprise that brings value to other people, that improves other people's lives, that makes other people's lives easier. Whatever the case might be, whatever the exact motivation and intent might be, I wanted to kind of make this episode about you guys and what it really means to be in the space that you're in, where you're taking this risk and you're going forward into a marketplace, and you're trying to carve out your own space in that marketplace. And so along the way, as a fair warning, I will be plugging Transform services from a marketing standpoint, but that's not really the intent. It's not the primary intent of this episode. It's more to reflect on the position you guys are in and how it may or may not include the services, the room for the services that Transform provides. So just kind of wanted to be clear about that right off the bat. And I think, the question that I kind of pull from that little introduction is to start off and say, as an entrepreneur, especially if you're a small business, I know there's probably people listening, hopefully we have some people listening, from a broad spectrum of backgrounds, and so there could be some medium businesses out there, could be some large businesses listening to the podcast right now, which is great. But, in a lot of ways, we pride ourselves at Transform on helping small businesses get over this hump when it comes to marketing and getting the word out about their business. So it's not the only thing we do, obviously. It's not the sole purpose that we're out here selling marketing services, but it definitely is one that we pride ourselves on in particular, is doing that service for small businesses that are otherwise kind of overwhelmed, if you will. And the reason I say that, it's not to paint a picture of a business owner who can't keep all the trains running on time. That's not what I mean by that. But rather a situation where when you're really just starting out, you haven't quite made it to that, larger small business size or even that medium-sized business, that's kind of the next step for you. But you're still in that very early infancy stage when you're just trying to get off the ground. You're just trying to get going. During that phase, you are wearing every single hat in the business. You're wearing the marketing hat, you're wearing the admin hat, you're wearing the contracts hat, you're wearing the legal hat maybe, which could be a little dangerous. You're wearing a customer service hat, you're wearing the delivery hat. You're the person who's actually delivering the service, or if it's a product, you're the one, shipping that product out or dealing with the entity that is doing the shipping. Okay, so you're wearing every single hat, every single aspect of that business falls on your shoulders. And so from a Transform perspective, we're asking you that question in a semi-rhetorical way, which is, are you doing your own marketing? Are you taking on this responsibility in a way that is benefiting your business or potentially holding your business back? And it's a question worth asking yourself, right? So just being a small business owner, it's hard enough. It's hard enough to do all the pieces of the puzzle to keep the thing going than it is to become a marketing expert, to, learn about social media, to learn about paid ads, to learn about email marketing campaigns. There's so many elements to this digital marketing game that in some ways, to learn it properly, it's almost like you're in the business of being a digital marketer, in addition to whatever business you're actually in. Preparing tax returns, doing financial advisory services, drop shipping, products to your Shopify customers. Whatever business you're in, to really learn this marketing game to the level that you need to, you almost become two business owners, right? Your first business and your marketing business, okay? Which essentially is you wearing that hat and being that element of your business enterprise. So, that's the open question to you guys. As you listen to this podcast, whether you're listening to it right as we published here in mid-April 2022, or you're listening to it years from now or months from now, this is where I think you have to take a step back, because the pace of owning your own business is so breakneck. It's so overwhelmingly intense at various points in time, and maybe most of the time, that you can just overlook this question. You can overlook it for really any of the hats that you wear. You can overlook it from, if you're doing bookkeeping, if you're doing your own taxes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's something eminently special about marketing, but it's what we do and it's what we know, so that's obviously why I'm focused on it. But I think, that's the real question for you guys, is stepping back from your business for a moment, looking at all these hats you wear, in particular pulling out this marketing hat and saying, am I doing my own marketing? What kind of marketing am I doing, if any? Maybe you're not even doing much of it. Maybe you're just kind of relying on word of mouth and you're just kind of hoping people stumble across you. There are business owners on all levels of the spectrum, okay, in terms of what they're doing. There are some who are outstanding at doing their own digital marketing. They don't need us. They don't need to bring anybody in to do it for them. It comes naturally to them. They want to be on camera talking about their brand. They want to be on camera talking about their product. They want to, record their audio and type up, textual posts about, what they do and what value they can bring to their customers. So those individuals, those businesses do not need what Transform delivers. Just pure and simple. Now, from a scaling perspective, could be a different story. I mean, when you're ready to scale your business up to heights that you've never gone to before, you may actually need to take a step back from marketing, even if you're good at it. But that's a different conversation. The point is that for particularly early stage small businesses, if you have a knack for it, if you're a natural at it, if you really enjoy it, do it, and reap the rewards accordingly from having the skills that you have at it. But my suspicion is we have a lot of business owners listening to the podcast who are either not doing it at all because they don't know where to begin and they're overwhelmed, or they're doing it and it's nowhere near what it needs to be. And they may or may not be aware of that. I mean, I think, ask half of them and they say, yep, I know, Chris, I'm doing my own marketing, it's not effective, but I don't know what else to do, I don't know where else to turn. And then the other half is going to say, oh yeah, it's going great, when they're leaving all kinds of opportunity on the table. Okay? So I think that's kind of a starting point for you guys to have this conversation if you are thinking about engaging a company like Transform, if you are thinking of engaging us on helping you out. Before you ever get to that point, I would really step away from your business for a moment and think about how you are conducting this aspect of your business today. What does it really look like, and how effective is it really? How effective has it really been for you? So that's kind of the first thing. Now, and like I said before, if you love it, if you love what goes into it, I kind of think it's a no-brainer in the beginning. I think you do it on your own to save the cost and plow that money back into your business that you would have otherwise spent on a marketer. 100%. Wouldn't even hesitate to give that advice to somebody who really has a knack for it and a love for it. But one thing I wanted to reflect on here, guys, as kind of wind this episode down a little bit. And of course, the counterpoint to what I just said is, if you don't fall into that category, we encourage you to give us a call. We encourage you to approach us and say, hey, Transform, what would you do for me from a marketing perspective? That free consultation, we look at your stuff, we give it kind of a 50,000-foot audit, see where you are kind of thing, and then say, hey, this is where we see the holes, this is where we can help you. This is where we would steer the ship. And I think, just hearing that from us, just knowing that information can be very informative to you. It's free. We do those kind of social media audits, digital audits for free. And having the results of one in your back pocket can be very informative. It can be very, very informative to know, okay, I got to stare the ugly truth in the face here. That it's not going so well. It's not optimized. I had a professional organization come in and look at it, and there's all kinds of gaps. What am I going to do about it? So we want to help you with that. We want to provide you that free value, and we understand 100% if you take that free value and you don't engage us in a paid sort of situation. That's just part of the deal. But we want you to know that option is out there, that you can get some help here, you can get some outside perspective at no cost to at least reset the table and look and say, okay, how am I marketing this business? Where are things going right? Where are things going wrong? So, having said that, I really want to finish by saying, and if you go back to episode 1, when we welcomed you guys to this podcast, and I believe you got to go back to October 2021 for that, if I recall correctly, talked about how the entrepreneur, the business owner, is in the context of economics. I want to be very clear about this. In the context of economics, the entrepreneur is the hero, because the entrepreneur takes the risk. And I think that when you listen to conversation in society, and it's unfortunate that this is the way it is, and this is just my reflection on this, is my personal kind of take on this. I think people may or may not agree with this. But when you listen to discourse about business owners, particularly those that have become successful, okay, those that either have total control of their time, have made an outsized amount of money, or both, and you listen to discourse about those individuals and who they are and whatnot, you see a lot of reflection, a lot of opinion on the ones that we can see have succeeded. So there's almost an envy, there's almost maybe a degree of jealousy or just plain negativity towards individuals who have gone out on a limb, started a business, gotten successful, and now there's incoming flack, there's incoming fire because of that. On the flip side, when you start your business, were you to fail, those same individuals have no idea who you are. They'll never know who you are. They'll never know what you tried to do. They'll never know the risk you took, because the risk takers who fail, they don't get documented. Now, once in a blue moon, you might have somebody who starts a particular kind of enterprise, and it's very, it's very public, it's very out there in the public sphere, and everybody can watch that person fail and can watch that person be ruined by that failure. Yes, that does happen once every so often. But for every successful entrepreneur that we may or may not hear about, I'm not saying we hear about 100% of them. I mean, you may be living next door to a successful entrepreneur and not even know it, right? All the way up to the Elon Musks and the Jeff Bezoses. But for every successful one that we know of and can point to, trust me, there are tens, hundreds, thousands that attempted to be entrepreneurial, attempted to start a business and bring value to the world, and they failed. And they failed perhaps in spectacular fashion, meaning they lost everything. They lost all their money, they lost all the time that went into it. Maybe they even lost their families. Maybe the financial hardship broke or ruined their family. So I'm just saying this not to be melodramatic. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably already know this. You probably have already lived through it or are currently living through it. But it's to really connect with you guys and say, look, we understand the position you're in. We understand where you're coming from. We understand the risk that you've taken and how everything could be on the line for you. And so when you deal with Transform, we want you guys to know that that is in the back of our heads as much as it may be in the forefront of yours. And so I think this is a conversation that, I can only speak for America. I've lived in America my entire life, different states. In this country, at least, there is some celebration of entrepreneurship and capitalism, for sure. I don't want to say it's 100% negative. But there's also a growing and increasing trend towards vilifying capitalism and success and entrepreneurship that turns into, in particular, outsized success. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that's where the trend is going and that's where we see things kind of heading. But the bottom line is, we understand from a Transform perspective, for all the business owners listening to this podcast, listening to this episode, we understand what you guys have wagered, what you have put on the line for your dream, your passion, your idea, your family, your legacy. We understand that. And we understand everything that goes into that and everything that gets risked when you do something like that. Not just money-wise, but lots of other ways as well. So I wanted to kind of pound the table on that. I thought it was worth circling back to that message from episode 1, which, like I said, I believe that was now, 7 months ago or so. So just kind of wanted to put that out there, guys, and kind of finish with, if you're on the fence at all, contact us. We would love to do the audit for you. If that's all you do with us, no issues whatsoever with that. We love making the connection. We love building the relationship, even if it just stays that way. But we want to facilitate your success. And that's a first step. Providing you a free social media audit, giving you a chance to kind of take stock and say, hey, these are the opportunities, these are the threats, these are the issues that I have. It can only be helpful to you going forward. It can only be of use to you going forward as you continue to either do your own marketing or make a decision to hire us. Okay? So I just kind of want to let you guys know that, and kind of put that out there once again. You can find us, of course, on Facebook and LinkedIn. Just look up Transform. Website's transform.com. Of course, like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Can't thank you enough for doing that. But, I reiterate, if you guys have questions, if you are unsure about your marketing positioning, if you are unsure of how well things are going for you marketing-wise, reach out to us. Let us know you want a free audit. Be happy to do it for you. Okay? And personally speaking, to all the risk-taking entrepreneurs out there, thank you. It's because of individuals like yourselves that we have the innovations that we have the services and the products that we have at our disposal that we can transact with in the marketplace. It took that entrepreneurship and that risk-taking to bring those elements into the marketplace. And so it's a personal thank you from me, organizationally from Transform, and a thank you for listening to the podcast and this episode in particular. All right, guys, so I hope everybody enjoys their Wednesday. As we head towards the weekend, we'll be back with you for episode 51. Probably be publishing that episode on Friday the 15th, but there may be a change there. But anyway, take a look for that. Look out for us to get that one out to you here later on in the week. But for now, hope you guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.